Welcome to the Enterprising Conversations channel, your small business watchtower. I'm your channel host, I'm your business skills facilitator, I'm your business advisor. My name is Rendani. Today's conversation is going to focus on factors that affect pricing. Most often when I move around delivering business skills training or mentoring small, medium, and micro enterprises, people would ask me, how do I set my prices? What are the things that I must consider when I'm setting my prices? Yes, now is the time to answer that question. Before we can talk about factors that affect pricing, I just want us to switch into the correct mindset about pricing. Pricing, suppose you've got the following boxes: marketing, another box, say it's HR, another box, production, and another box, financial management. My question is, where would you locate pricing here? In which box would you situate pricing? I'm disappointed because she got it right right away. Most people would talk about your financial management. Now, one thing I can tell you about these functions, obviously these are functions of the business. Marketing, rather, let me put it this way. In a business, there are things that can be directly influenced by management action. And there are things that cannot be directly influenced by management action. There are things that you can influence by management action and those that cannot be directly influenced by management action. In other words, again, if you look at marketing, pricing, this is where we've located our pricing. If you look at these four boxes, the things that they have in common is that they are internal to the business. And all the things that are internal to our business, obviously, we can influence them. Financial management can be influenced by whether the business has got the skills and know-how to manage the finances. HR, your talent, if the competency of your talent is something that you can influence, you can directly hire and headhunt that talent which is competent at doing what your business is all about. So this is internal. Internal means management action can influence these aspects. But look at this one. External. This is external. We are talking about market factors, market forces influence your price. It's not yourself. You don't influence it. It is something that people easily confuse. Now we can come back to factors that influence pricing. factors that influence pricing. 1. Demand and supply. Obviously. As we said, pricing is a marketing issue. It's not a financial management. It's an external thing. It's an external thing, not an internal thing. Thank you very much. Demand and supply. If many suppliers, we are talking about the influence. How will many suppliers influence the price of a product or a service? When there are many suppliers, too many suppliers, the price will be low because there's too much competition. When there are fewer suppliers, with like Eskom in South Africa, I think we have just been slapped with another 12% increase. So it tells you Eskom can do that, but not for too long. But they can still do that. They are still the monopoly. They are still the major supplier, almost the sole supplier. Although their monopoly has got an expiry date. So high prices, just as we can see with Eskom as an example. Now, what is another factor? Profit objectives of the business. Profit objectives. How much profit you want to make can influence your pricing, because as much as pricing is a marketing issue, remember, if you are talking about the price of bread, for example, let's talk about that one. The price of bread. The price of bread, you will find that the price of bread, at what price does it start? Tell me. What is the lowest price of bread you can find?
It's 16, 17, I think, 16, 19, 15.
Maybe you can say even 14. You still find bread. From 14 to, and it depends what kind of bread. It can be the one that is not sliced, not branded, but I've bought recently like your Albani. I think it was on promo. You can still find bread 14 to around 22 rands. So for a company, of course, you've got to justify. You cannot just sell it. The guy who's selling it at 22 rands, let's say it's your Albani. You can see that the size of the slices are not the same with the other bread. And they might have a legitimate claim that their quality is even better. 14 rands to 22 rands. So if I want to go into the market, if I want to sell bread, I have to decide where in the spectrum, this price spectrum, am I going to sell here at the lower range of the price, or am I going to position myself in the middle, or am I going to be position myself at the top end of the spectrum? So if my profit objective is to make higher profit, I will most probably position myself as at the top end of the spectrum. So profit objectives do come into the picture. Yes, indeed, price is not influenced by management action, it's external, but your profit objectives can influence where in the price spectrum you are going to position yourself. Another interesting factor here is your nature, and I'll tell you why. Nature of the business. I will explain this one. And when I say nature of the business, excuse me please, I just leaned too heavily on my board here. Nature of the business, what does it mean? And you must answer this question yourself. There are businesses that are about high profit, low volumes. Low volume. And I'll explain again. And you've got businesses that are about high volume and low profit. Low profit margin. What is your kind of business? I can tell you. Supermarket business, it's about volumes. The profit is low, and then for that, to make that profit count, you must sell many items. And you've got your high profit, low volume. I've seen a new Bugatti limited edition. I think they're going to produce about 200 vehicles. It's for the exclusive customers. Mostly those who are already owning a Bugatti will be allowed to buy. It's not a question of having money. It's very exclusive. You can have the money, but you have to meet other conditions. You must already own a Bugatti. You will be prioritized. Guess how much is going to be? I think it's going to be 3.3 pounds. 2.3 million pounds. In South African rands, ask me how much it's going to be. It's going to be 75 million rands just for a car. That is not small beer. That's big money. So with this car, you can see that already with 75 million rands, they are already talking about serious profit. They can sell just a few. They can afford to sell 210 in the entire world, and they would have made a lot of money already. But if you are selling a vehicle for the mass market, like your Toyota, your Mazda, entry level kind of, you need to sell many volumes. So this obviously the nature of business has got an influence on your price. Yes, I hope that is clear. Very interesting, because Bugatti is selling to a very, very, very exclusive market. The people with a high net worth. Another one, which I think we will agree with, scarcity. Scarcity. How easily available is that product? In South Africa, there is one product that we used to take for granted, which is becoming scarce. Firstly, it was electricity, it was in an abundance, and then load shedding happened, and it started to be scarce. One other product that is becoming scarce is water. We used to have it in abundance, now it's becoming a scarcity. It was unheard of for people in Joburg to be without water, to be moving around with buckets, empty buckets of water, looking for water. Scarcity. Diamond is, it's not, you can live in this world and pass on without even seeing a diamond. I haven't seen a diamond with my naked eye. Raw diamond, for example. I haven't seen a gold with my naked eye. And I'm sure that I'm in good company with many other people. So scarcity, when something is scarce to come by, if it's not easily available, the price becomes high. The impact on the prices will be very high, because there will be the available supply of that product will be very low, limited, and you'll be having many people looking for that. So it's another consideration. One other interesting consideration is image. Image. In other words, how do you want to position yourself in the mind of the customer? For Bugatti to be selling that sports car yet to be released at 75 million rands, that price, they want to position themselves at as a premium, luxurious sports car, exclusive product. That's the image that you have. That influences the design, the kind of material that is used, even the colors. Why? Because they want to portray that image. One day, it was very interesting. Me and my production team, we were talking to a potential guest on our Inspiring Conversation show. The guy was into cosmetics. And the branding of the cosmetics, it was very bright colors, very loud, really loud colors. And one thing that we said to ourselves when we got the pictures was to say, the impression that I get is that it's cheap when you use those kind of colors. So your price, the image that you want to create has got to do with the image that you want to create. What you want your brand to represent in the mind of the customer. When the customer looks at your brand, when they hear about your brand, what do you want them to think? Bugatti, obviously, they want the customer to think exclusivity because of that price tag and many other things around Bugatti. Even their kind of adverts, they just don't advertise anywhere. I don't think you'll find it in like your taxi ranks, because that's not the kind of image they want to create. So your image will determine whether you want, obviously the cosmetic product, it's not wrong if it is intentional. The entrepreneur that I was talking about, who are selling cosmetics with very bright colors, with an image of, which created an image impression of a cheap product. It does have its own market. There are people who are price sensitive, customers who are price sensitive, who are looking for that kind of a product. And if that is the intention of the customer, of the entrepreneur, then it's a success. It's a successful strategy, because the customers who are price sensitive will most readily accept that product. So the image that you want to create will influence that. If you want to differentiate, like Bugatti, they are following a differentiation strategy. They don't want to look like any other product in the market. They want exclusivity. That's what they do with their pricing. So I hope that is very clear, loud and clear. Another one which is very interesting: your target market. Who are you selling to? Target market, who are you selling to? Your price will be influenced by that. I mean, when it comes to cars, speaking of Bugatti, there are customers. In other words, you need to understand, what do my customers really buy? Bugatti customers are not just buying a means of transport, another mode of transport. They just don't want to move from point A to point B. They want to move from point A to point B in style. They want to make a statement. As they move from point A to point B, they want to make a statement. So if your customers are buying status, exclusivity, all those kind of things, I have arrived. There are those customers who are buying, they want to say, just by getting off the car, just by arriving, they want their car to say, I have arrived on their behalf, without them opening their mouth. But there are those customers who just want a means of moving from point A to point B. With those kind of customers, price, affordability is everything. They are buying affordability, the basic capability of the product, the basic functionality of the product is enough for them. Now, another factor that we need to consider here that influence pricing. Another factor here that influences pricing is what we call entry barrier. Entry barrier. What does it mean? It means, for example, let me give you an example. With cleaning, at least here in South Africa, I can wake up tomorrow and call myself a cleaner. With hairstyling, the salon business, I can wake up and put up a board and say, I'm a hairdresser. What does it mean? The entry barrier, the fence, it's like when the barriers are low, it's like the South African borders. You just need to lift. If you are able to lift one foot and then the other, you are in. So there are those kind of industries. There are those kind of businesses. If the entry barriers are low, there will be many entrants into the business, then it will push down the prices. But if the barriers are high, there will be there will be fewer suppliers of that product because you need to invest. Let's say railway services, trains. Not everyone has got enough money to afford the capital outlay that is required by that kind of a business, and the payback period, having to wait. If you are investing 10 billion, 100 billion, before you can recover that 100 billion, it will be long. Even worse, even longer, to start telling a profit. To start telling a profit might even be long. Might take even longer. So the entry barriers matter. When the fence is too low to get into your kind of business in the industry, the price will be forced down. When it is high, the price will be high, like Eskom. They managed for the past, say, 30 years, and with the protection of the legislation, which is, of course, the situation is changing, they've been able to control the price, to hike the price as they wished, and people could do very little about it, because the entry barriers, you've got legislation as an entry barrier, which made it almost difficult to go into the industry. You've got, of course, the investment, capital outlay that you need to invest, it's way too high. Another one, cost structure. If your cost structure, for example, let's say this baker produces this type of bread for 10 rands, and another baker produces the same type of bread for 10 rands, for exactly the same type of bread, but they produce it at 11 rands 50. Their cost structure is high. They are more likely to be forced to position them at the medium or top range of the price spectrum, because they are not competitive. Of course, it's got, at the end of the day, the customer has to come up with a verdict as to which one they are going to buy. So the cost structure, as much as when we say, sometimes people say, when we say price is a marketing issue, people think that we are saying your cost that don't matter. Your costs still matter. If the price, for example, is, the highest price that you can sell is 12 rands, a product is 12 rands, and you are only making that product, you are able to make the product at 11 rands 70 cents. It means your business is not viable. It doesn't work. It doesn't work, because the highest price you can ask for that product is 12 rands, and it is costing you almost 12 francs to make the product, you are not going to be able to make. It means that your product, your business lacks financial viability. So you have to consider the cost structure of your product. Another one, as we conclude, what do they? Industrial rivalry. Industrial rivalry, and here I'm talking about basically intensity of competition. Here, what comes to mind is like your clothing and textile industry. You can see the shades of this world. You can see the aim of this world. Even the advertising is aggressive. You switch on your phone, Temu. You switch on your phone, Shane comes up. Even the authorities in South Africa are beginning to act. The tax authorities are beginning to act to protect the local industry. The clothing and textile has always been very, very competitive. Initially, our clothing and textile was decimated by the likes of China. Now Shane is getting on into the action. They are getting into the action. Intensity of competition. When the competition is cutthroat kind of competition, the prices are forced down. Where the doctrine is all it's fair in love and war, they are throwing competitors, rivals, business rivals are throwing everything at each other, including the kitchen sink. Then the prices are forced down. But when there are fewer competitors in the market, their prices are forced high. So that is the influence of price. Industrial rivalry, intensity of competition. Thank you very much. I hope you are going to be able to consider factors before you price your product. Remember, the most common form of pricing strategy is to take your cost and say plus the markup, the profit that you want to make. So those factors will help you consider this kind of things. Those factors will help you determine your markup, how much markup, your competition, your cost structure, your industrial rivalry, your entry barriers, your target market, all those kind of things. Thank you very much. I enjoyed this conversation. All the best.